Jai Gurudev Mani Anna.
Jai.
We welcome you to this series of interactions with you. And the subject I wish to talk about today with you is bhajan. After bhojan, that is the most important for every devotee. And why is it that certain songs or certain themes seem to resonate with bhajan, but if I pick up a Bollywood song or rock music, somehow it doesn't feel like bhajan and satsang. So is the theme or the narrative important in the bhajan, or is it something else that we are missing entirely when understanding bhajan?
It all depends on what the mind engages itself in. You see, you like a song, a particular song, but if you cannot sing the same song every day. Every day your taste changes according to your mood. The mind has emotions and feelings and its wavelength. But in a satsang, if you see, the same songs are repeated in every satsang. Most of the songs are familiar. You want your familiar song to be sung. And in the same song, sometimes it says like Narayana, 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Complete repetition happens. What happens in satsang is, one is the words that we use in satsang. The words have got energy. It has got a vibration. It has got a direct influence on the mind and the mood. So the words that we use in bhajans are mostly Sanskrit, which are filled with energy, potent with energy vibrations of it. So when you chant or when you listen to a word, it immediately affects your mind and your feelings and emotions. So that way, the words that are used in the bhajans are the superlative. And if you look at a love song, for example, we all like to sing love songs. Without you, where I am, all these things are there. But when it is connected with a particular person or a particular mood, it is very short-lived. Whereas our communication with ourselves, or if you are a believer with the divine as a beloved, it is not a short-lived relationship. It is not conditional also. You relate with yourself, you relate with your divine in a different way than you relate with anybody who is close to you also. There are some barriers, some limitations in your relationship. This is beyond any relationship, so that is energizing. The same thing with mantras. Mantra means by repeating, it transports. That's the meaning of mantra. Transcends. The transcendence happens through the repetition. That is the exact meaning of the word mantra in Sanskrit. So, how many words are there by keep on repeating? That transcends and transports to other than boredom, it doesn't bring in anything. But while chanting mantra, you are not bored. You are full. You feel the fulfillment. You feel the connection within yourself, and then you are not there. Your mind is not there. Your intellect is not there. All the faculties, all the superficial things you get disconnected with, and what remains is not even your body, your mind, your buddhi, your feeling, nothing, your memory. You are totally in yourself, connected. So this is the purpose of chanting mantras also. That transports you to another level when you are able to rest there. So every chanting has to be followed at least 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, because that is the purpose. If you are doing pranayam, after the pranayam, what do? You don't immediately go out and do your things immediately. No. Pranayam is supposed to create an atmosphere for you to settle down in yourself. And when you sit alone, sit with your eyes closed, still, in that stillness, you get connected with that silence within. Same thing with songs in bhajans, because Sanskrit is an ancient language and mind is an ancient thing. The body is new, everything is your situations, your ideas, everything is new, but the mind and its vibrations are very, very old. It has got some impressions in the mind. So these mind, the listening or chanting or saying these words that we use in bhajan, you get immediately hooked to that kind of an energy level. That is why mantras are important. It's all, nobody has ever sat down and written, let this be a mantra. No, mantras have been downloaded from the ethereal records. When I say the ethereal records, Akashic records, it means the vibrations and the experience of your samadhi is the origin of mantras. Yoga, all asanas we do as a practice of, like, I want to reduce my weight, or I want to do some, have my physical wellness, fitness, I want to keep it intact. But no, the yoga, origin of yoga postures are also, if you have watched in the enlightened beings, you see there are some natural pose that happens. It's a very graceful manner. When you listen to a person, the grace that they emit is all coming from that level of the being. So the postures and the sound vibrations in mantras, everything is like not a like a doing by somebody. It's not a doing. It is something that happened, occurred to them, their intuition and their being. That's very important. That's how the bhajans, any number of times you repeat a word in a bhajan, it doesn't create boredom in you. Any number of times you repeat the same song every day, the mantra that you repeat every day, it doesn't create that boredom or emptiness. It creates a fullness in you instead. You get connected. You don't get disconnected. For example, in a love song that, if you are not with me, I will die, I will not exist. All these things are very, very superficial, very conditional. The feeling attached with that is a conditional thing. If you don't love me, then these conditions, all these things, the situations are different, entirely different. But with the divine, with ourselves, we don't have any conditions. However the thing is, however you are, I still love you. Unconditional love. Close to it is the mother's love to the baby, not even the baby's love to the mother, for the mother. No, the mother's love for the baby is close to the divine love and the love for the self. No?
Thank you, Bhaiya. Many times, but in satsang, it happens that sometimes we have hesitation, maybe singing those words that may not connect with our belief of our religious perspective or such thoughts which come in. So, you feel that hesitation somehow constricts that experience of bhajan that someone may have in a satsang, or how can we go beyond that?
Yeah. Again, the experience. For example, Om, the sound Om, for example. What is Om? Om is considered as a religious chant by many people who have not tried it. Even the religion that Om is prevalent, is there as a practice. Some of the people, they don't have any idea about what it is actually. But when we chant Om, when we say Om, you cannot but experience the sound vibrations in you. That is, the experience tells you. You don't have to worry about your own experience. Like if you have a pain in your leg, the whole world turns against you and say you don't have pain in your leg. Will you accept it? No. So the experience of your practice is more important than even the belief. Belief is for us to get into the practice. Even if you don't have belief, then you do it and the belief already comes. The faith already automatically comes to you. So if somebody else's experience, so it says like the people are of three different levels of intelligence. Some people don't learn. Some people learn from their experience. Some people learn, even more intelligent people learn from others' experience. And some unintelligent people will not learn even from their own experiences. So an average intelligent person will know their experience. A little above intelligent person will learn from somebody else's experience. So then they are courageous enough to put in a little effort to experience, to make it their own experience. Once it is your experience, there is no need of any explanation. So if you are stuck with some words which are not in your belief or your faith, just see the experience of other people. What is their experience, and take one step forward and just go through it. And if you don't get any experience even after that, forget about it. Doesn't matter to you. But keep an open mind, because you cannot have a narrow mind when it comes to your eating habits. You like lasagna, you don't have to be an Italian or a European to enjoy pizzas and pastas and all. Being an Indian also, you can enjoy it. You only need an openness to taste it for the first time. If you don't like it, it is your own life. You have the responsibility to take decisions, on about yourself. But if you like it, then you will get that faith. Okay, there is something in this. Then maybe it is beneficial in your life. So keep an open mind. That's what I have to say about it.
Thank you, Bhaiya. My last question is, in the Narad Bhakti Sutra, Narada says that Sarvata Sarva Bhavena Nischinte Bhagwanena Bhajaniya. In this Sarva Bhavena Bhajaniya, sometimes it is that even within satsang, the emotions that we consider negative, like anger or jealousy, sometimes jealousy towards the satsang singer, that why is that singer singing so well and I am not able to. These emotions also surface. How do you feel that we should go about resolving them and again coming back into the happier emotions of Ananda?
If you are feeling any negative emotion also, don't try to get rid of it by force. It has it has got actually an opposite impact. It will remain forever actually. If you, for example, if you are angry, jealousy is an emotion, a negative emotion, considered as a negative emotion, which is going to do any good to you. So all those emotions that don't do any good to ourselves are considered as a negative. So this is negative, this is positive. So something which is negative, you cannot chase them around. Then what are you missing? You are busy chasing the uninvited guest in your backyard. The invited guest is knocking at your door and you are missing that. You should be there to open the door for your invited guest, right? So this is the problem with chasing a negative emotion. So be with that, because it depends on your state of mind. You don't feel the same negative emotion with the same person at all times when you are with them or when you are with them all, right? So understand this. This is at that level of the mind, at the state of mind. You are feeling it temporarily. It will vanish. What do you need to do? You have to keep your focus on the front door. Somebody who has entered from the back door without your this thing, have them a little comfort there, make them sit there, and then provide some tea to them. You enjoy your tea. By the time I attend to my guest, there is an honored guest at home, I have to attend to that. So then you are with your positive emotions again. And about Sarvada Sarva Bhavena, Narada says, one pointed focus on the divinity, on the divine. Make the divine your beloved, your Valentine. Gurudev has said it. Make divine your Valentine. What does it mean? A Valentine is not in the form, who is not in the form. If there is a form, if you are connected with a form, then there are so many other things also attached with it. You want to be with them in their physical presence, you know, and then you expect some response from them for your love. You expect some gift, at least a smile from them. So connection with the divine is beyond, even beyond that physical presence. And if you are able to connect the divinity in a form, that is ultimate, I would rather say. In all your relationship, you can bring this connection to the divine. Everything is a reflection of the same divine. If you can see that, at times we feel it, right? At times we feel that this person is a faltu person. At times we feel that there is nothing, nobody better than this person. So you are actually connecting and disconnecting with the divine there, you know. So without any conditions, without all the, remove all the tags, all your expectations, all your feelings, all your demands, feelings, I will not say feelings, demands from the relationship. That way, if you can connect with the divine as a Valentine, as your brother, as your mother, as your baby, and interact with that divinity in that feeling, that is a sign of a devotee. A devotee, at times they become a baby to the divine, a Valentine to the divine, mother to the divine. So every way, we will say, like, why should I go after a guru? The physical connection is also important. In the case of a guru, if you have a master who is in a living body, you have to connect at the physical level also. But the divinity is there, whether the physical body is there with you or not. The divinity doesn't disappear any moment if you have a strong connection with the divine from within. You know, you will not be subject to any uh, distortions of love. All the negative emotions are considered to be a distortion of love. Love standing upside down, love standing thoda teda meda, becomes some other emotion, like that. So to make the love more clear and without any conditions, connect with the divine directly in all different ways, all different bhavas, all different moods and feelings.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for so many beautiful insights into bhajan and how we can connect with it, even when sometimes we don't want to, and for opening this world to everyone. Jai Gurudev.
Yes.